multiple articles on comicbook.com, only one of which had a link to the trailer. There were at least 4. One of those had a link to the trailer, and it was the one that was the most buried in the list. So, and also kind of the smallest headline, just... Hello, Big Show nerds. It is that time once again. We are talking about nerd news headlines right here on the Big Show Entertainment Media Network. I, as always, am Dustin. We have a fantastic show for you today. We're talking about some Sandman stuff over in TV streaming. We're talking about a boatload of trailers that have come out over the last couple of days and kind of the implications that they all bring with them, so on and so forth. We have a rumor mill that's going to knock your socks off, so let's hit the intro. Okay, so housekeeping, doing the push. It is what it is. So we're gonna combine the push with the shoutouts this time. So we do have a few shoutouts for the housekeeping and shoutout section. So we're gonna start. The least used social media is the Instagram, and we actually have 3 new followers on the Instagram. So if you have come over from the Instagram, then thank you very much. But the newest followers over on Instagram, and once again, you can find me on Instagram at Generally Nerdy. When I do the photo videos, that's usually where the photos go from the video, is I'll post them up on the Instagram, so you can kind of get a taste of what we're going to do before we do the actual video. So there was one that's going up here very soon because I am working on an adventure and photography video. But then also that's where I do the advertisement effectively for the show. So again, Generally Nerdy on Instagram is at Generally Nerdy, and the new followers are Stephen Puller, G Money Bug, and Pookie Dagoon. Those last 2, I'm pretty sure, are just following me because I started doing reels. But either way, it's nice to have you guys if you have found your way to the YouTube or to the audio at all. Nerdy Legion, YouTube. I'm on the iTunes as well, Generally Nerdy. Anyway, so the next section is the Twitter followers. We have 1 new follower, and then I'm going to do a makeup for the other one. On Twitter, it is at Generally_Nerdy, and that's where I go post things when I'm doing research for the news show, when I just am interacting with people. That's generally where it happens, is on the Twitter. So again, at Generally_Nerdy. New followers on Twitter, we have Cody Sparks at Sparks Fury, and then again, I'm going to do the makeup. Ed Moore was the follower that I should have tagged last time, and it is Teal Productions, at Teal Productions. So go check those guys out. In Getter, I do have a new follower over there as well, Jeremiaitis, I think. Thanks for the follower there. On Getter, it is at Generally_Nerdy. And then on Facebook, we got a new follower on the Facebook. At Generally Nerdy, Generally Nerdy Photography, and Generally Nerdy Gaming are the pages on the Facebook. Paul Groom is the new follower over on the main Generally Nerdy page. So thank you very much, Paul. And also another makeup shout out, because I didn't put it in the notes when I was supposed to for the last episode. Legendmasters.com is where the General Lee Nerdy shirt is from. Brian Middleton and Robert Ennis are the 2 gentlemen who helped me create that shirt. So shout outs to those guys one more time, by name this time. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Again, trying to push the social medias just so that we can get better and more quality content on the show. So even if you're listening on any of the audio outlets, any of these syndicated outlets, whatever, that is going to help if you follow the Generally Nerdy pages on the social medias for various reasons that we've gone over multiple times. So if you have yet to find me on the social medias, please do so. Look for the Nerdy Ninja. That is me. That is all we have for housekeeping and shout outs. So let's get into the news. TV streaming, we have another interesting follow-up that is not exactly what you would think of when I use the word streaming service. Audible has, and I think previously I was reporting on this in the comic book section, but it makes a little bit more sense now that I've seen it in action, to put it in the TV streaming section because it is effectively a streaming show. Audible has the Sandman show. Granted, it is an audio play. It is effectively a podcast. It's something that you hear episodically that you download through a service. That service is Audible. Sandman, we have a returning cast. We have an expansion to that returning cast. Jeffrey Wright is going to lend his voice to a character. I think there were only 2 or 3 additions to it, but by and large, we are getting a second season of that Sandman story over on Audible. That's the only follow-up we have, but we do have quite a few trailers to talk about that have come out since our last episode. First up is Day of the Dead. The sci-fi series has dropped its first trailer. And so far, pretty mixed reviews. I'm not feeling the tone. I will probably end up watching this trailer 1 or 2 more times, and then we can have a more informed conversation on the social medias. So far, it feels like they're missing the point of the original from Romero, but I don't know. I reserve the right to reserve my judgment until the series actually launches, which is going to be happening sometime in October, which makes freaking sense. Our next trailer that we're talking about is one that I kind of forgot was happening. It's an animated Blade Runner series called Black Lotus. Blade Runner Black Lotus. It's going to be on Adult Swim. There is no release date for it yet, but we do have our first trailer for it. It's a little teaser. Pretty interesting. I like the art style. That's all I can really get from it so far, but we will continue on keeping tabs on this. And again, probably on the social medias, we will have that conversation a little more properly. And then our next trailer is a new Star Trek. This one we've been keeping tabs on since its announcement. Kate Mulgrew, this is the animated series that she's lending her voice to as Captain Janeway, coming to Paramount Plus this fall, and then Nickelodeon, presumably shortly thereafter. It is Star Trek Prodigy. Again, link down in the show notes. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens here. Yes, I understand this one is geared much more towards children than, say, Lower Decks or any of the live action shows, but I don't know, Voyager was a great one. Janeway, though, was also in and out of my Star Trek, which was Deep Space Nine, so I have a little bit of an interest there. Next, we're talking about the trailer for the final season of The Walking Dead. We got a new Walking Dead trailer. This cannot happen soon enough. August 22nd is going to be the release of the first episode of the new Walking Dead, and then again, it goes up on FX on Hulu the following day, if memory serves. This is kind of the last of a breed right here. This is the last season of this long form storytelling, and this is going to be even longer form than previous seasons of The Walking Dead. We're getting 24 full-on episodes for the final season of Walking Dead. I cannot be more excited. I wish there had been some other choices made throughout the life of this series, but still remains one of my top 5 current series and probably top 10 all-time series for nerdy things ever. So yeah, that's pretty freaking cool. And then our final trailer that we're talking about in the TV streaming section is the first release trailer for American Horror Story, the proper series, not the anthology series, which we've been getting already. We're about to get our 4th episode for the anthology series. This is going to be very interesting. Go watch it. We'll have that conversation. It feels like we're missing something here. It feels like they're trying to bill it as this big scary thing, and then you see the actual imagery that they're using to promote it, and it doesn't line up. But that's just me. Again, I reserve the right to make any sort of judgment until the actual series airs. That is all we have for trailers, and that's actually the entire TV streaming section. Next, we are talking movies, and movies is going to be a little bit more abbreviated, but a little bit more well-rounded all at the same time. So we're going to start up at the top with follow-ups, the Friday the 13th legal drama that we have been keeping some tabs on throughout the course of it. It seems that it might be actually coming to an end. We do have a report from one of the actors involved. Granted, it is Corey Feldman, so I probably should have put this in the rumor section, but we do have word from one of the actors involved that he has been hearing good things about a resolution to the issue. Just a real quick TLDR about the issue, in case you don't remember. There is a law on the books that says when a writer writes a thing that he has certain rights to that thing, as long as it is an original creation, and especially after a certain amount of time has passed, he can stop the sell of the IP to be developed into other things. So the original writer for the Friday the 13th series says he created the character of Jason Voorhees. The original production company, I believe it's New Line, for the Friday the 13th series says that no, you did that while as a hired gun for the company, therefore it belongs to the company because that was what your contract said. Let's keep that part in mind because I really have a feeling that that's the way this is going to go. But needless to say, we are however many years after the fact, and now they're in a battle. The writer says, no, I created it. The studio says, yeah, we don't doubt that. We are not, that's not the part that we're arguing. What we're arguing is you did it for us, therefore we own it. So it sounds like we could be seeing some sort of resolution to this in the next couple of months is the way Feldman was making it sound. So very interested there. We will be updating you as that progresses, but that is all we have for follow-ups. Next, we are moving over to trailers. Big hitting trailers have launched over the last couple of days. First and foremost, Ghostbusters Afterlife. That's right. Yes, nerds, we're finally getting it. This one looks like we are going to be heading in a proper direction for a freaking reboot that nobody asked for, but could still be amazing. This one legit could still be amazing. So I do find it rather interesting that all of the main nerdy news outlets, all of the big ones, comicbook.com, so on and so forth, even into the more entertainment side, pop culture news outlets, Variety, THR, so on and so forth, when talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife and the kind of throwing some shade at it, they're talking about, oh, fans aren't liking it on the internet because it looks like there's not a lot of comedy that's involved. None of them are actually linking to the trailer. Why do you suppose that? I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. Why do you suppose they're so afraid to link to the trailer? I read multiple articles on comicbook.com, only one of which had a link to the trailer. There were at least 4. One of those had a link to the trailer, and it was the one that was the most buried in the list. So, and also kind of the smallest headline, just these are the same outlets, and this is why this is relevant. These are the same outlets that were waving the banner for the 2016 movie, or whatever year that was. I'm pretty sure that was 2016. The reboot, the gender bent reboot. These are the same media outlets who said that was the next best thing since sliced bread, the next best thing since marshmallows, if you will. S'mores, even better. Yeah, so very interesting that the one that honestly the communities that I casually am a part of, and even some of the more active communities I'm a part of, they all seem to love it based off of this trailer. So I don't know where they're finding all of these tweets that they're quoting in their articles, but it's not from anybody who I know of that's a fan. I don't know. That's just food for thought, I suppose. Let's hope. But yeah, let's have that conversation, comment sections, social medias, whatever. And then the other trailer that is of note is the prequel movie to Zack Snyder's Zombieverse called Army of Thieves. And then, so this one's really interesting in that I find it pretty hilarious that some of the news outlets are saying, oh, there's not going to be any zombies in the Army of Thieves movie. Well, one of the first things you hear the characters say in the trailer is asking if the other character knows about the disease that's spreading in America, and he says, "You mean the one that turns people into flesh-eating monsters?" And then you see news coverage and all this stuff. Yes, there are going to be zombies in Army of Thieves. So those of you who are worried that this was going to feel not connected to the zombie movie that we just got, I feel like those fears can be put to bed at this point. So yeah, go check out that trailer. And then our one piece of news for this series, or for this episode, movies. It's The Exorcist. Sorry. Woo! Exorcist, we got an announcement that there is going to be a reboot, lega-sequel kind of situation going on here. Reboot, it's going to be a new trilogy. Blumhouse is going to be the studio that is actively producing it. And then Universal and Peacock are going to be handling distribution. Which is interesting, not for the least of which because that deal has yet to be 100% cemented, but it sounds like they're willing to throw a bunch of money at this. This definitely has the potential to go very dramatically in either direction. Either it's going to be a great lega-sequel. I feel like that's the least likely option. The other option is it's going to be a hot mess. Blumhouse's involvement tends to make me a little more optimistic, but not much because modern horror sucks. Anyway, so yeah, that's a thing that's happened. And then the other part of this is that they have brought in a writer-director in the form of David Gordon Green. That's right, you know that name, so that makes this pretty interesting as well, right? We will definitely be keeping tabs on this. So far, I believe Gordon Green is only going to be writing and directing the first of the trilogy, though if that's incorrect, I will definitely update it in the next episode. But that is, like I said, all of the movies that we're going to be talking about, nerds. Rumor mill is a good one. I enjoy this rumor mill. So let's start right at the jump. We're going for Superman. That's right. We have a Superman rumor. This is one that we have heard iterations of, a couple of different iterations of in the past. But then JJ Abrams takes over and brings in Ta-Nehisi Coates, and that version of Superman is no longer part of this rumor. So the rumor is that we are going to see Michael B. Jordan wearing the Superman S on his chest this is a little bit more specifics than we've got previously, in an HBO Max miniseries. Now, the other interesting thing about this rumor is that this is not going to be a version of Kal-El's Superman. This is going to be a version of Val-Zod Superman, who is from Earth 2, whose origin has him all of the things that Michael B. Jordan is. Let's just put it that way. Young black man. So it's very significant in that Michael B. Jordan has explicitly said that he does not want to play Kal-El. So every time we got a rumor about Superman before this, and it was a variation on the Kal-El story, we could automatically just pretty much shut that down. But now we have a rumor that says he's going to be Val-Zod, and that seems to be a little more legit. There is something there. Michael B. Jordan claims to be a fan of the comic books, which is why he didn't want to do that to Kal-El. He agrees with us in that he thinks that you should keep the character the way the character was intended, and if you want to create other characters that are also equally as amazing, but check different socially correct boxes, then you should do that and not change the existing canon. So that's what he's doing, according to this rumor. So likelihood to this rumor, I want to give this like an 80%. I want to give it that high, but I do recognize that the source of this rumor is kind of iffy, though we do know, again, all of the things that Michael B. Jordan has said. So I'm going to put this one at about 60%, and I feel like that's still a little generous because I'm so hype on this rumor. I think that's an amazing thing to do. Lean into that multiverse, DC. Let's do this. So yeah, that's where we're at with that one. Next, we're talking about G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe versus Transformers. There's a number of things G.I. Joe related in the rumor mill that we're going to cover them all right now. The big one is that G.I. Joe versus Transformers is still somewhere on the table. I call nonsense. That is not the case, I would imagine. Just based off of the numbers that we've seen, G.I. Joe underperformed worse than Black Widow in its first weekend, and then also fell equally as dramatically as Black Widow in its second weekend, and has been getting not only bad reactions from most fans, but also bad reactions from most critics. So there's a lot stacked against the G.I. Joe universe, even though you still get all of these big media outlets saying that, oh, they still are putting plans together for a multiverse, or for an extended universe for G.I. Joe. And part of that extended universe, according to this rumor, is the Transformers. I don't see it. G.I. Joe has never done super well. I have yet to see Snake Eyes. I will probably watch it sometime soon, I would imagine. But yeah, it's not really high on my priority list. Didn't like the first two G.I. Joe movies. I love the G.I. Joe cartoons. Again, had all of those characters, all of those toys when I was a little kid. So this does not ring true. So likelihood that we are still potentially going to be seeing a G.I. Joe versus Transformers movie, 10%. Anything above that is being too generous. Anything below that is kind of insulting, honestly. But yeah, 10% I feel like is right where that should be. Our next... Oh, this one, I have to eat a little bit of crow. It's not exactly a confirmation, but it's this close to being a confirmation. So the Pokemon rumor that we talked about last time that I put somewhere around like 30%, I think it was like 35%, the live action Pokemon series on Netflix, seems that there's a little bit of traction there. There's a little bit of reason to believe this might actually happen because we have word that there is actually a relationship with the live action, it was Legendary Pictures, I believe, who owns the live action rights to Pokemon. And they have a little bit of a beef with WB these days. I didn't go down that rabbit hole exactly to kind of weed out exactly what that beef was, but it definitely is there because they have recently put out a number of things on Netflix and not on HBO Max. So there's something there. And also we're getting word that there is going to be a writer, that a writer slash executive producer has been brought in. Some might say that would be a showrunner, Joe Henderson, who is coming from Lucifer, if I remember correctly. So yeah, very interesting. And this is also now coming from some mega sources who don't usually deal much, at least, in the rumors. So yeah, this has just picked up a lot more steam. We're going from 35% to, I'm putting this one at 75%. This is looking, yeah, gonna happen, I think. Moving on. Next, we're talking about Daredevil. This is kind of the inevitable, another inevitable rumor, considering all of the rumors that we've been covering concerning Daredevil recently, and that is that Disney Plus is going to give Daredevil a series once we are introduced to him in the Echo series. And not only that, but the rumor goes on to say that this series is in early production. Okay, so this is rumor based on rumor for a number of reasons, not the least of which being it is only a rumor that we are going to be seeing Daredevil in the Echo series. So highest we can go is 50%. I feel like 50% is a little generous in this case. I do think that we will see Daredevil in the MCU proper. I do not think, at least not in the next 3 to 5 years, though to this rumor's credit, it does say that if this happens, it will be a bit of time yet before it does go out. In the next 3 to 5 years, I do not see this happening. So, considering that's roughly the time frame this rumor is dealing with, 40% is about as high as I'm comfortable going with this one. Next is a gaming rumor. This time we're talking Fortnite. Fortnite, a leaker, so it's technically a leak, has been kind of going on for a little while about the upcoming mounts in the game that I'm sure most of us have heard by now. I didn't necessarily cover it, I don't think, in the show when it first started going around, doing the rounds, but the rumor has now expanded, and the expansion comes from the original leaker. So interesting. This leaker has also, faithfully leaked things in the past, so there isn't a whole lot of reason to not believe that he might know certain things, but just because he's been told something or he's found something in the code does not mean it will actually come to fruition. Just means it's probably somewhere shooting around somebody's head and they're experimenting with it. So the new part of this rumor is that not only will we get mounts in Fortnite, but we will also get flying mounts. There will be beasts of flight that you can ride in Fortnite coming sometime soon. That's one of the things that this leaker, with these two leaks very specifically, I feel like has been kind of hedging his bets, saying, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. So likelihood that this is going, I'm just going to do the one because it sounds like the two things are linked. So if we get one, then we will likely get the other. So we'll do 1% of likelihood for this one. I think the possibility for mounts and flying mounts in Fortnite is strongish. I'll put it about 55%, a little over halfway there, but still, that's something. Next, we are moving still in the gaming side of things, but we do have new rumor about The Legend of Zelda. Woo, words. We do have new rumor from The Legend of Zelda in Nintendo. It seems that, according to the rumor, that Nintendo is actively working on not just 1 or 2 HD remasters of older games, but all of the older games are getting HD remasters, according to this rumor, with the exception of anything from the 2D era, obviously, because those games are already pretty awesome. But no Ocarina of Time, no Majora's Mask, according to the rumor, at least as far as the leaker has heard, quote unquote. I feel like this would be fun, but there's no real reason to believe that they're going to this length. Maybe they are going to go beyond Skyward Sword, but I don't know how far beyond. And saying that everything short of Ocarina of Time is going to get an HD remaster is a little presumptuous. So because it goes that far, that is the thing that's kind of killing this. I'm putting this rumor right about 30%. This doesn't ring very true to me. Our final rumor for this episode has to do with some Star Wars action. We have a new rumor around the Ahsoka Tano show that there is actually been some casting done that is yet to be announced, and the casting is for characters that are only rumored to be in the series. So, because this is rumor based on rumor, we can only go so high, but it's pretty fun to think about. The two characters are Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn, which lends a little bit of credence to some of the other theories that are going around as to what kind of, what we're going to be covering in this series. So Lars Mikkelsen has been cast, according to the rumor, as Admiral Thrawn, and Mina Massoud has been cast as Bridger, which actually we got a rumor for a couple of weeks, might have even been a little over a month ago at this point. So we're getting some... things are coming around, I guess you could say. Because this is technically rumor based on rumor, we can only go 50%, but I feel like that's a hard 50% likelihood that this is going to be a thing. Once we know that who the other characters in the series are going to be, then I feel like that lends a little bit more credence to these rumors, and we will revisit those probably once we get confirmation of other characters in the series. But that is the end of the rumor mill. And that does it for this episode of Headlines Nerds. For a more in-depth conversation on these nerdy bits, plus all of the other generally nerdy things that I do, then you can find me over on my personal YouTube channel, Generally Nerdy. Don't forget to find me also on the social medias, Generally Nerdy in some variation, on pretty much any social media that you can think of, though we are pushing real hard the Twitter and the Instagram and the Facebook. So look for Generally Nerdy. The Nerdy Ninja is the logo, and that is where you will find me having the conversations. While you're here, though, don't forget to like and subscribe and share on all of the Big Show Entertainment Media platforms, and tune in next time for all that's happening across the nerd world.